All right, everyone, welcome. This is the second AMA for BRCvr events of 2021. We're here to answer any questions you have on our events guide and about hosting events inside of AltSpace for BRCvr of 2021. This is for Burn Week, and we're going to go over the guide. We're going to answer any questions you have and have a little discussion at the end. Just a quick note, last year, we had over 200 worlds host over 1,500 hours of events. This year, we hope to top that. And so we appreciate all of you who have built worlds or have been created a stage manager or being assigned as a stage manager to have an event inside of someone else's world or theme camp. A lot of last year was a challenge for users to come into BRCvr and try to find where those events are happening. A lot of times they would enter a world and they would go, where is everyone? There's an event happening in this world, but it actually was happening in a separate event. And so this year we're fixing that by using channels. So channels is a way for us to categorize everyone's events, upload them and put them into a really easy to navigate directory. So there's two reasons why we need we need every camp to create a channel. Reason number one is because we import events from your channel and put that into the master directory where people can search by day, by different camp, by different world, and see all the events that are happening in that particular world. The other reason why we need everyone to have a channel is because AltSpace has created a special feature called the festival feature. And the festival feature, and I'll give you guys a little demonstration of that, is another tab that exists inside of AltSpace in that little tape menu. And you can go in and you can see BRCvr and all of the events that are happening inside of BRCvr organized by chronological order. And so those are the two reasons why we have asked numerous times for every single world to create a channel and then to send us their channel URL. So if any of you have any questions about that, please go back to one of our emails, and if not, we can answer them here as well. So after that, we're going to go really briefly through the guide, but we've already done it in our last AMA, so you can rewatch that one where we kind of go through everything. And we really want this one to be the meat of your questions. What have you ran into challenges with creating an event, with doing the sound check, with giving other people access to the event, elevating people's roles, creating someone as a host, anything that you've tried. We really, really encourage you to create a test event, create an event today, tomorrow, or over the weekend, and just give it a shot. See what things you run into. Adding an MMC player into your world and starting to bring in content into it. What do you run into? And then bring that in here. And we're going to work through that, and we're going to get it really smooth for Burn Week when people are going to be coming in and really excited to see what you have to offer them. So really quickly, I'm just going to talk about the different parts of the events guide, and then we will answer any questions you have. Sorry, give me a second. There we go. All right, does everyone see my screen? Thumbs up? Great. See a lot of nodding heads. All right, so the events guide here, if you need access to it, we're going to put it into the chat. It's broken out by different sections. Here we are right now. We completed one AMA last week. This is the current AMA that we're doing on August 26th. Then we have one more tomorrow morning. It's going to be our last AMA. We also have a Discord channel. It's the events help channel. You can go in there and ask your questions. There's a lot of people that are there to answer them, including myself and other BRCvr events crew members. The left-hand side over here has a directory of the different steps that you need. Step one is creating your channel. Step two is scheduling your events in AltSpace. Step three is going into that event, making sure it looks right, making sure people have the necessary roles, making sure that there is audio and video if that's what you are hosting in your event. And then step four is promoting your event. And this time we really want to encourage everyone to promote events because that's a great way for people to find them, to have a link to your actual event tagging BRCvr so we're able to share that post in our community. And then that way there's collaboration going in, and we're amplifying the reach of everyone to see your event, know how to attend it, and actually be there for it. So that's the bulk of the guide. We then have a troubleshooting section. We have a few things to add to it for this week. One thing was someone wanted to upload an MP4 file from Dropbox, but for some reason it wasn't working because they needed to change one little thing in the URL. That's like an example of what we would put in here. A question that constantly comes up. We want to add that here so anyone else who has that same question can go to this portion of the guide and then see if it's been answered. So that's the guide. It's really, it goes deep into different sections. There's an entire, there's also a walkthrough of the guide here where you can just watch me walk through each and every bullet point of the guide. There is a very detailed video of how to create an event, and every single detail and every single feature of creating events. It's here in this how to create an event video. So I've done enough talking about the events guide. I really want to hear what's been your experience creating events or hosting events inside of AltSpace. Yes, I see. I am CompuBear. You're muted, so yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Just wanted to point out in your guide, it says that you cannot use YouTube, but we found a workaround for that. So I wanted to make everybody aware of it. If you do an OBS on your computer, run that OBS to DLive, hook, obviously you're getting the video off your computer using the OBS from YouTube, patch that into DLive, and from DLive, probe that into the media console. And we've been successfully running days now of content into it. I have 24 hours worth of YouTube in one channel in my YouTube. And so it's run the 24 hours consecutively. And every morning I just reset it.
Thank you. Thank you. That's brilliant. And we also do that same workaround. So that's a really good thing to point out. And we'll add that section to the guide. Essentially, everyone should have a DLive account. A DLive account is the easiest way to bring in a live stream into AltSpace using the multimedia console or the MMC. And what you can do is it essentially screen captures whatever you're looking at. So if you bring up your browser, if you bring up a YouTube channel and you just make it full screen, DLive will then put that live stream onto your DLive link. And then that DLive link, we bring it into the MMC player. That's excellent. We 100% recommend to use that method for bringing in YouTube into AltSpace using the multimedia console.
Question.
Yep, Ron.
Yeah. How is it different than web projector, or the advantage over web projector?
That's a great question. Okay. Yes, you want to answer that question?
Yeah, since I have become the expert apparently on web projector. Web projector has a 2-hour timeout, which will stop anything that you have without, you have to reset it every 2 hours. Unless you're physically using something in it like a PowerPoint or something to that extent where you're constantly updating the connection, it will time out at 2 hours, where the MMC using DLive can run continuously, pretty much forever in that particular case.
And is it possible to upload videos to DLive? Is it possible to do something so your computer is not actually running at that moment?
No.
I don't know if it's a static video, it does accept archive.org links. So I have a video that I use when I'm not streaming that there's a playlist. It's actually really neat. The MMC is kind of neat, a playlist. I go through a static video, I pull off archive.org, and then you can actually set the date and time you'll go live. You can put an image graphic in between to like announce who's playing. So, but the archive.org site, it's a free site to upload media. So you're basically contributing media to a public domain. But if you don't,
and DLive will just take a URL
No, so you
Exactly.
don't even need
No.
to use DLive. You would use the MMC player. And you would
Directly.
bring the URL over into
right.
the MMC player in a
Like an
player.
MP4. Yeah.
Got it. So I have been, well, I've only have a couple videos up there, but with Dropbox, and it seems to be working with Dropbox. Does
Oh, the
anyone
link?
else? Huh?
Oh, really?
I've uploaded a couple, actually I downloaded from YouTube and uploaded it to my Dropbox account and used the JSON for the multimedia, or yeah, for the multimedia console. And it seems to run, every so often I'm not sure if it's running continuously because I don't watch the whole thing, but it seems to, every time I come into the world, it's running. So I think it's
There's no reason it wouldn't. If you just use the link that's provided for you by Dropbox to drop it into that console, yeah, you'd be good to go there.
So
Absolutely right.
So okay. So for playing videos, is that, I mean, in terms of that versus DLive seems to be the way to go for a live, but if I just want something to play where I don't have the computer controlling it, would you say Dropbox is a safe way to do that?
Absolutely right. Yes. So what you would do is when you go to save your Dropbox, when you go to get the Dropbox link for a MP4 file, that link at the end of it says DL equals zero.
Right.
And that means that you cannot download it. But if you change that 0 to a 1, all of a sudden the MMC player picks it up and it will stream that right over into your world.
Yeah. Thank you to whoever put that in Discord. Like I saw that and it's like, wow. Okay. So that's great.
Oh, does that mean Twitch is supported? Because the screenshot shows Twitch. I don't think you could put Twitch in.
No, that's an old screenshot. It doesn't support Twitch, but but like what we're saying.
It does support Twitch if you're not using YouTube. Only if you're using YouTube does it not support Twitch, because Twitch cancels all YouTube.
Oh.
You're saying if you use Twitch to live stream, that the MMC player is now allowing the Twitch
Correct.
link to be streamed over? Okay.
Correct, but just not with YouTube, because it will silence and cut. Twitch will silence and cut all YouTube videos as copyright material. But if you're doing a physical live stream into Twitch or doing videos that you've constructed into Twitch, then you can do that.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't recently tested Twitch, but if it's working on the MMC player, that could be a solution. In the past, we have run into issues like that, Twitch streams going down or having some reason why they're silenced because of copyright or some other reasons. That's why we've always defaulted everyone to use DLive.
And the delay, the audio, I guess it's the audio video delay on DLive, how much would that be if you're trying to do some kind of interaction?
It's a few seconds. I'm not quite sure, but I would say it's below 10 seconds. And I think you may even be able to change that in your settings. Are you familiar with the delay?
Delay into which aspect?
Well, no, I'm asking who else has used DLive, if they've noticed what the delay is between what's playing and what's actually in the world.
So I've had anywhere from a few seconds, to be honest, to a full minute delay. So part of that has to do with the fact that you are running, let's say, YouTube down to your computer, from your computer up to DLive, and then DLive to there. It depends on your internet and how delayed your internet may also be, or how much you're trying to run through and do other things at the same time on that same computer.
Sure.
I was having the same results.
Yeah, even if you were going live on, let's say, Facebook or YouTube or YouTube, whenever someone is like, if someone in the chat types a message to the streamer, there is a delay before the streamer actually reads it, then responds, and then the commenter actually hears that response.
Okay, but yeah, for my application, it'd be a live DJ who is in the real world, seeing what's happening in the alt space and communicating that way. But I'm probably not going to try to do that. So
no, I bet you can get it down to probably 15, 20 seconds, but probably not better than that.
Yeah.
If you want help, just come ask me.
Okay,
That's what I actually do a live stream of tarot card reading. into alt space
Oh,
and simultaneously while I'm talking to the customer. So
wow. So that's
yeah.
gotta be, yeah, the challenging. Yeah.
yeah, well, I don't use media play for that. Again, I go back to web because I'm constantly using it. So as long as you're constantly putting
Okay.
input in there, you don't do the 2-hour timeout.
So web projector has a less delay. I think I heard that.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Because you're not having to go through D-Link or other sources to get it there.
Got
So
it.
yes, I would use the web projector for that. And I can show you how to set that up.
Okay, I have done that. And I have also heard though that Mac users can't hear from a web projector. Anyone have that experience? I heard that.
That's what I was
yesterday.
told.
Yeah, I just heard that this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
haven't
been the
tested
latest.
that.
They are working on it, but as of right now, we haven't heard from AltSpace if they have fixed Mac users not hearing the web projector. The way to fix that is to have a web projector playing the video and having the DJ bot playing the audio.
Okay. Yeah.
Y'all
Okay.
are closely on my question, if I can jump in.
Yeah, please.
Hi, I'm Fritzy, full out Fritzy. I making a 2D video asset, and it's like sketch comedy of drag. And I just I want to touch bases that I just sent my video through the Google form, the BRCvr/upload.
Mhm.
And I found a big mistake. There's an error in there. So I talked to Lindsay and said that they'd prefer that I do Dropbox and send it via like send a link that way. Is that correct?
Yes, so I actually spoke to Lindsay about this. That upload is primarily for Unity and other 3D models that we want to bring into AltSpace, but for any performances that are 2D, we recommend just sharing that through a Dropbox link, and then we can find worlds to host that content.
Perfect. What do you want me to reply to Lindsay with that link? Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
And yeah, so let me think. I think that's all my questions. The Dropbox, yeah, I just figured that out, that it's yeah, that's the preferred method.
Yeah, and MP4 is the format of the video that would be preferred.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah. I got
Gene,
that
did
all.
you have a question?
I'm racking my brain, but yeah, not right now. So yeah, anybody else jump in if they have a question. Thank you.
How is that working with pairing up camps with content?
Yeah, so
I know that I'd filled out like we'd be cool with this kind of thing or that kind of thing during the day, more eclectic at night, more energetic, more world stuff, global, stuff,
yeah,
on these days.
It's been a pretty challenging.
I don't know what the repository
It's been a pretty
is.
challenging process because there is a two-sided marketplace essentially, right? We have the performers that are looking for camps, and we have camps that are looking for performers. So we have a team that's going through and emailing everyone to make sure that we find great matches. That's going to be happening up until burn week. So expect to see emails today, tomorrow, Saturday, and letting you know that, hey, we found a performer. We have them either coming in live or we have their MP4 file from, on Dropbox. And if you need help, we might have a volunteer available to actually come into the world to drop that into the MMC player if you can give us the right the Terraformer permission, or we would, I would ask you to, with that link, to put it into the MMC player. Yeah, so that's been my personal project. I was the one who kind of thought about, like, there's so many people that want to do this, and we finally made it a process to match make the two together. Gene,
That's awesome, by the way. That's just awesome.
Oh, Gene, you're muted.
I saw a spreadsheet of people who are performers and that type of thing, who are looking for places. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, so before last year, we just gave that spreadsheet to the worlds and we said, reach out to them, try to get them to, but what really happened is not everyone was able to connect. And so now we actually have a dedicated team that's doing the matchmaking.
Okay, clearinghouse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My question is, there used to be documentation about how to do slides during a event. So we're going to be inviting authors of books and things like that. Some of them are going to have slides.
Yep.
And I don't see that documentation anymore. Would I use the multimedia player and just put in an image for each slide? But when I read about the multimedia player, it looks like each image is up for only a specified period of time.
Yeah, so here you're referring to, so there is an alt space developer by the name of Ben who created a slides tool. I'm putting into the chat now.
Okay,
it's
great.
not something that we support technically. It's something that he built for AltSpace and anyone to use. So I put in the chat, you guys can read it, and he gives you a demonstration of how to use it. I don't know how updated it is and how it works yet or recently. I have used it successfully in the past, but you know, you guys are free to check out the slides tool.
Okay, I'll check it out. But if it turns out that that's too new and not working well, then the question is the multimedia player, which I just tried it, just putting up a couple of images. It seems to work fine, but is there any way to control it so that the speaker can, or a moderator or something like that, can go from one image to the next?
What I would recommend is looking at the web projector for that, because you are able to click buttons in the web projector while you're in AltSpace.
It's like any web page.
It's
Got
like
it.
any web page. Yeah. Some buttons are interactable. Sometimes others are not. It just depends on what AltSpace is able to click on.
But somebody sitting on their computer who has a Zoom, excuse me, AltSpace window and a whatever, the web browser window, can control the web browser locally.
That also, you can also do that. You don't need to be running AltSpace while also projecting using the web projector. You can do it on a MacBook while you're on your Quest, having the MacBook stream that web page through the web projector into AltSpace, and you on your Quest able to click on some of the buttons inside of the web projector.
Got it. But just one point of clarification. My understanding is it's only supported on Microsoft's Edge browser.
That's
And
correct.
as far as I know, Edge doesn't work on.
It does. Yeah.
Oh,
So Edge works on Mac now, and the web projector is able to stream through Edge on a Mac.
Great. That's a great clarification. Thank you
Yep.
so much.
Any other questions?
Yes, Paul. How many people do you recommend, or does the world support? Like,
Yeah, so each world is supported to a maximum of 50 people. Then what AltSpace does is it creates what's called rooms, and it's like a parallel instance of your world for an additional 50 people. And you do all this when you're creating your event. So as you're creating your event, you actually can specify, do you want your room to have 30 people, 40 people, 50 people? And sometimes if your world is really, really optimal, you can reach out to AltSpace and get even bigger. So that's a process, might take a few days, but we have seen worlds go up to 70.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And in the moderator tools, you will see if you've reached that number and if it's created an alternate world that those people are in and who those people are, so that you can see all the people that are in all the worlds that can come together events.
Exactly. And you can see more about that in the video that is under step 2, creating scheduling events in AltSpace. That video has a section where they talk about using the moderator tools.
And limiting it to 30, that might be an okay strategy. If I still have about 10 megabytes, I want to shave off of my world, because it's a little heavy still.
Yeah, if your world's heavy, we recommend either having less MREs, like interactable objects inside.
Yeah,
of
I
your
haven't
world.
added any of those.
And then having less people that are in the world.
Okay.
So the key is also limiting the kits, because every time you take one object out of the kit, it still has to download all those objects in each kit. So if you have 5 different kits that you're using and one object in each kit, that still could be hundreds of downloads that it's doing that could be making your world heavy.
That's good information. Well, along those lines, though, if you have, say you just go into another instance, but someone shows up that instance and no one else is there, that's probably a little disorienting for them. Do they know that they're in a different instance, or they just figured no one's showed up to the party?
So they probably think that no one showed up to the party. What you can do if you're in that world as a moderator, you can actually jump in with them and take them to the first instance, or you can close down one instance, like deleting the room. It'll automatically bring everyone into the first room. And then you can also add rooms. So even if you delete a room, you can then still add a room later.
Well, is it up to the moderators to add a room, or does Allspace just do that
No, it's up to
automatically?
the moderators to add and delete rooms.
Okay, so if I understand, you said that when it reaches a maximum, 30 people, the moderator then knows that that's
Oh, no.
happening?
So if it hits a maximum, then
Yeah.
Allspace automatically will drop people into the next room.
Okay.
That's if you as a moderator have created additional rooms. So when you're creating your event, you can specify how many rooms you want, or you can add them in later. And
Got
so that's something to keep in mind, to always plan for a little bit more people than you're expecting. So then Allspace will automatically drop them into the additional rooms.
Okay.
And you can also message them as well. So if they've dropped into the room by themselves, you can message that individual and say you're in another instance and there'll be more people joining you.
Okay. All right.
And where do you manage those from? Where is your God's view of your event once it's going?
Yeah, so that would be in the host tools. When you're in Altspace, there's a little button, a little circle next to World Builder. If you are a Terraformer, you would have World Builder. If you're not, you would just have the host tools button. You click on that host tools button and it brings up a menu of the different host tools available to you. And one of those host tools, I believe, is called the host panel. I'm just going to bring that up. This is, again, in this video, I'm going to be linking.
Open and mute them.
Sorry, I'm just going to mute that video. Putting into the chat now. This describes all of the aspects of hosting an event. And if you go to about minute 18, they bring up the panel that allows you to look at everything, the God's view of your entire event and all the participants. Any other questions? Oh, we have a hand raised by Ed. Is that Ed, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was just checking out that YouTube video. So I have a few questions actually. So one is, if we're using OBS, do we need DLive still?
Yes, yeah, because OBS is what brings the stream into DLive. Without
see.
OBS, DLive doesn't have anywhere to get the stream from.
Okay, now I went on the DLive website. It looks like a mobile app. Is that
No,
correct?
it does have a mobile app, but it also has a web app. It just doesn't have a Windows or Mac app, but you can use it through any browser.
Ah,
So
web
you
app.
want to access
Oh.
it through the browser. And when you set up your OBS, do not finish setting it up until you've set up your DLive account first, so that you can get the key from DLive that then goes into your OBS.
Got it. Get the
And once
key.
that's all set up, it's pretty magical, because I figured out today I can have an MP4 of like a 2-hour DJ set and then a completely different video set, you know, signal coming through, or I can have just a billboard that just shows what the name of the DJ is, and I can just kind of manage that stuff as I go. And you just literally turn on layers, turn off layers. You can build scenes and just move from one scene to the next. And it's just, once you get past the getting all of the connections linked, it's actually pretty magical.
And you're
And I
talking about DLive
Yeah, no, we're talking about
or
the OBS software.
Yeah, OBS for
software.
sure.
The
Yeah.
OBS into the, because once it's
Right.
all linked up, then
Then
there's
it does
just
it
so
automatically.
many-
It does it automatically. There's all this stage stuff that you can do in platforms and covers and letters. But I would suggest Stream OBS is the better option.
Oh, there's a
what-
choice of OBSs?
Steam, yes, Steam OBS is your better option.
Okay.
When you say All right, sorry, let me see, Steam OBS.
Stream OBS.
Stream, that's-
STREAM. Stream OBS.
and that's a separate application than OBS?
Correct.
Oh,
One
Okay.
Stream is also free, but it is actually 10 times better software and has a better connection to DLive than OBS itself.
Right.
So and easier to use.
so that's not just a plugin, it's actually a separate
Software.
application. Software.
Correct. Correct. That will be controlling it.
And so that
But
could
it-
correct for some of the, I was getting warbling audio every once in a while. Ah, bless you.
Is Stream OBS?
Is it
Stream OBS
Streamlabs OBS?
Is Stream OBS also Mac compatible?
Do not know if they have a Mac compatible. I'm an IBM person, Mac, Windows person. Yes, it is Streamlabs.
Okay,
You may be able to run Streamlabs, if I'm not mistaken, in the Mac shell, however, Windows shell, if you have that.
Says there's a Mac version.
Looks like there's a Mac version on their website.
Okay.
Very
Thanks.
cool. Another question. And this one, maybe I should share my screen if that's okay.
Sure.
I have a question about making events. And there's something here I just don't understand. Because when you, so here's an event that I created on my event, my channel.
Yep.
Right? And it's showing up okay. And this is the panel for making events. When, you know, the thing that's kind of baffling me is it forces you to choose a template. I'm not seeing anything in here that I want to use as a template.
Yes, so this is a very common question, and this
Yeah.
is a really bad UI of Altspace, but you actually don't need a template in order to create an event. It makes you select one randomly, but it has nothing to do with the event if you import it from a world. So you
Okay.
actually can choose any template you want, but the most important thing is when if you go down a little bit lower and it says upload from import from world, source world, that's where it actually
Okay.
pulls your event from.
Exactly. And this is the one that I wanted. However, I chose this guy as a template.
Yep.
And because it was the closest thing to what we're doing. Then when I go on, you know, I don't know why I'm seeing this icon for that event now.
So that happens because of the template. So if you want to change that icon, you actually need to upload a new icon for that event. But if you don't have any icon selected, it'll just use the template icon.
So in that back screen where you were just at, if you go to upload tile, you'll want to make it, and it specifically gives you a size. So and that's the trickiest part.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that it is that size. So resize, resample from any Photoshop program. Correct.
Yeah, I've got all this worked out.
So just put that in there and that will replace it. I just use the cool gray, the one at the very top at the very beginning, and it will just insert your slide into there instead of using their standard one.
Yeah, though, you know, it didn't show up here, which is what I expected, right? I expected.
It will. If you've made it the right size, it will show up there.
Okay, because I did.
So there's a few different images you can upload. You can upload a tile, you can upload a background image. All those show up differently in different menus. So we recommend just upload all the images and have it show up the same way everywhere.
Okay. So, well, I should be able to edit this then. And
Absolutely. You edit it and then just make sure that's in your channel. Make sure it's importing from your source world correctly. And that should be enough to show up correctly in your event. There's that right there. That
I see. Yeah. Because you know what? I did enter the right image, but it didn't jam it in here. But now I can just override it here, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Okie dokie. Very good. I have a backlog of events that I need to get in. Is there some way of triggering the scraping of the events off my channel?
We're going to be doing that every day and then multiple times per day during burn week.
Okay. Just As a, like, so if I update, I don't have to notify anybody.
You
It'll
don't have
just
to
get
notify
streamed?
anyone as long as we have your channel URL and you've submitted it either to us by email or through the events form. We should have your channel, and then all the events you upload into your channel, we will automatically scrape every day and then multiple times per day during burn week.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, great questions. All right, anyone else? Well, I have one. So
On the matter of web projector, I just want to make it jump in there real quick. People don't know, if you turn volume off, the little button on an application, so not if you're just using it from a web browser, but if you use it for a different application within your computer and you click the button, do not use sound, it will not work.
Can you say that one more time?
Sure. If you're using web projector and you're using it on Edge, you use the extension and you tell it to stream. Just be aware that if you stream from an application other than the browser, it will come up and ask you if you want to stream sound as well. If you turn that off, it will not work.
The visuals won't work.
Nothing will work.
it won't stream.
It won't stream.
That's a good
Okay.
thing. We will add that to the troubleshooting problems to let everyone know that that might occur.
Okay, wow. Good hints.
That's why they made me in charge of web projector information.
The one who makes all the mistakes first and then finds out. Good.
Great. One thing I do want to talk about, because it wasn't mentioned in the guide as of yet, is 18 and over events. So as you know, at Burning Man, you can have 18 and over events. There is nudity and all kinds of things that you can have. You can also have this inside of AltSpace. The one limitation is that AltSpace is an application that anyone can access over the age of 13. And so we don't want kids who are under the age of 18 to enter worlds that have specifically inappropriate content for them. And so if you have content that, let's say, is mature content, like you might be having a song that has profanity in it, that's okay. Or if you have like a comedian who is going to be talking about inappropriate things that's meant for a mature audience, you can put that into the title. But now we have some camps at Burning Man that are purely nudist camps, or that will have photos of genitalia and other sexual content. For those worlds, we ask you to email us and we will create a boundary so that people who are not 18 and over cannot access your world. So it'll prevent you from being under any kind of liability that someone under the age of 18 could potentially access your world. So let us know. We created that as another checkbox in the events form, but everyone's already probably filled that out by now. And so if you do plan to have an event that has content that you do not want anyone under 18 to see, please let us know and we will make sure that doesn't happen.
And so that can be specific to an event where, I mean, because there are a couple of DJs that I've got queued up where I don't know what's going to be in there. You know,
so for those, it's okay. It's actually, you can just say 18 plus on your event title, that you're handled. If a kid joins in, it's not your problem. Like you know, it's unfortunate because kids are annoying, but like it's not a liability. But if you are having pornographic content in your world, we need to create a boundary to prevent anyone from under 18 from accessing it.
So when you do an event, it makes another instance of your world. So when you're doing that event, should you put a teleport from your world to that event so that they come in through Burning Man into your world, they can get to your event?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what the revolving portal is. The revolving portal is placed inside of your world, and anyone who enters your world will be able to see the upcoming events or the actually happening now events that are hosted from your source world. And so that's the revolving portal, and there's a guide for that as well.
But in some cases, I mean, people are going to, well, in all cases, people wander into what they think. I mean, a lot of people, this is going to be their first experience in VR. they're going to wander into the camp and think this is the thing. So they need to be instructed to actually go to that portal, because you're in the space, but you're not in the event. Correct?
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And you want to do it vice versa. In the event, you also want to make a portal back to your world. So at the end of the event, they can go back into your world and then go back to Burning Man and vice versa. So it's a good point to make both portals, both directions.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you can make this portal as big as you want, but it'll show up red for an upcoming event and blue for a live event. You can create arrows that point to it. You can make huge text that says, enter this to join the event. That'll help anyone entering your world to see that portal right next to them. Don't make it hidden somewhere, right there. And that'll show them where the event's actually happening.
And this should be like near the spawn point of the world?
Yeah, near the spawn point, not on the spawn point, because that'll create random bugs that we don't want, but right in view of the spawn point. Yep.
And then what's the difference between then the event to make the portal back?
So if you're at your event and you want people to visit your world, let's say you want them to favorite your world, so they can come back and experience it anytime, then you would create a portal inside of your event that leads them to the world. And
So I would just do that once the event starts, just go ahead and.
Or put a teleporter in your event to go back to your world.
Right. Yeah, you can do that once you've already created your event. You can enter your event early, add that portal there, and that portal will exist in your event.
Now, there was something about when we, if we update our world, like if we put an MME in there, or MMC, I mean, or whatever, we have that will ripple into the event instance.
So if you make changes to your source world after you've already created the event, there is a button in the event menu to I think it's called update or re-import re-import, I believe is the button. You push that and then it'll automatically re-import the world and all the MREs that are in that world. Now, if there are people that are at your event already, they won't be able to see them unless they re-enter the world. Or if they go from if they follow their friend to another room of your event, then they'll be able to see the refresh. You can also, in the host tools, automatically re-enter everyone into your world. So if you're having like a major issue that you fixed while the event's happening, you can refresh everyone. Everyone will re-enter your world and they'll see the update that hopefully fixed any problem.
Oh, wow. So everybody who's already in the world will automatically appear in the refresh.
Correct.
Very cool. Yeah.
I'm sorry, where was that refresh button?
Yeah, so that refresh, I believe you can see that in the in that how to create an event video at somewhere around 1830, about 1830 into that video.
Okay.
Now just go to your event page and hit edit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I see.
So here, what I was
In
talking
fact,
about.
you don't even have to hit edit. It's right there where under the edit, it says re-import world right on your event page.
So that's on the event page, but if the event's already happening and you have people in the room, you can then reset the room, which will re-import everyone back to that world. You can delete the room or you can redistribute users. So from that previous question from earlier, if you have one or two people in room one because it was full, but then it got less full, you can redistribute those people to go to a full room so that they're now back at the party.
Right. Nice.
Now, how do we set the, excuse me, Gene, how do we set the number of instances, shards or whatever?
Yeah, so you do that when you create your event. Again, you can also do that right over here by hitting add room.
Oh, look at that. So while the event's happening, you can add a room?
Yep.
If it gets too full?
Exactly.
Oh, sweet. Now, okay, this, so let's say I'm giving a presentation. Do I because I'm the host, appear in all of the worlds that are
Yes.
sharded off?
So that
Ah,
for that, you would have to go to hopefully right over here. Yep. So oh, there's one more menu that's missing here. Okay, so if you have multiple rooms, a new button appears here that says go on air. It's going to look like a little cell phone tower. It's going to say go on air. By pushing that button, you now appear in all the rooms. Now you won't be able to talk to everyone in different rooms. You'll only be able to talk to people in your room, but everyone will be able to see and hear you in all the different rooms if you are the performer.
got it.
Yep.
Just an observation, by the way, the hand tool is very useful. However, it does not work in a world. It only works in an event.
What hand tool are you referring to?
The raise hand tool in the host menu only appears in an event. It does not appear in a world. So if you're actually running performances or whatever within your world and not in an event, that tool is not available for you.
Yep. In general, events have been where Altspace has been putting more resources in. They really want to push their events tool and their events platform. So we recommend everyone to use events for your actual events. Jean, yes. Jean, I believe you're still on mute.
Thanks. Thing that I found sort of a trick is that we're going to have several events in our world, and I want to prepare all the props way ahead of time, sort of like microphones and screens and that type of thing. So and before you were talking about putting a portal in at the last minute, right before the event starts, so that you go back. What I do is I staged all of these props and put them like -10 in the Y so that they're all underground. And then I can just bring them up for the event. That way I don't have to keep, I have all of these objects ready to go. I just have, right before the event, I just have to edit the location of these props. It's just a little trick that I found that other people might find useful.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I have my screen and then I can just push it behind the curtain and then just make it, turn off editable and then just turn on editable and just boop. It's a little clumsy, but it's, I don't have to go fumbling about. I just want to make it simpler for myself.
Creating new objects in a world or an event is kind of sloppy. So I'd rather have everything nailed down ahead.
So you can do the same with the portal. You can place a portal to your world inside of your world. It'll just bring people to the beginning of it.
And then
now
put it
you can hide it if you want.
Yeah.
So if I understand, this would be a better method than having either another template that, I don't know if it works that way, but if you create a template that's for the event and then you use that template, or is that how?
Personally, that's what I do. But again, everyone has their way to do it. If I understand Gene correctly, what he does is he creates objects in his world that are for the event, but he hides them in the world, and then he brings them up for the event. Is that correct, Gene?
Yes.
And
I also, the reason I don't go with the template, but I go with the world, is because I have other objects that I want to persist in the world. So if I was just going with the template, I would have to have like more complicated things. So,
Paul, is it so when you use the template, are you have your world as it normally is, and then you have added these event things, and then you just switch?
I create a duplicate of the world that I'm going to be using for the event, and I add all the objects into that world. And then when I create my event, I use that world as the world that I import from.
And does the template have all the alt space kits and additions in it? the
So
template?
I'm not using a template, I'm using a world. So I am making a duplicate of my world and I'm importing from that duplicate world. I'm not using the template.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. You don't need to have a template in order to create an event. All you need is the source world.
So you can duplicate, you just duplicate the world.
That's correct.
Uh,
And you can
not
unlist
in,
it, make it
in
private.
alt space, not in Unity, in alt space.
In alt
Unity.
space. Yep.
Right. Got it.
I'm still confused on the portal. So if I have my world and I've got a portal that's, 10 feet away from the spawn point, and people walk into that, now they go into an event, is that not a copy of that world? And won't that pop into that same, won't it be a loop?
No. So portals, if you add a portal, that portal will update in your event as well, and you'll have to delete it. When you enter your event, you'll see that the portal object is still in that event, and you'll have to delete it so people don't go back into that loop.
Okay, thanks. That's the piece I'm missing. That's going to cause a problem. Okay.
Yeah. But again, that's why I recommend always enter your event before people do and just look around and say, does everything look right? Is this what I'm expecting, or is there something that needs to be tweaked either in my source world or in the actual event?
So just think of it this way, okay? You're taking your world and you're making a photograph of your world as you want it to be in the event. Then go back to your world and add whatever things you want that are special for your world, but not in the event. Once you've done that and you've already put the things you want in the event in that world to begin with, those things will arrive in your event. However, you can go into your event as early as you want. There's no time limit. You always have access to your event ahead of time. So you can always go in and set and make sure for each event that it is set up the way you want it to, that things arrive the way they want to, and that you have put those teleporters back to your world or whatever additions that you need to make. You can do that then.
That is awesome. Thank you. Because that's another, I don't have to wait right until doors to,
No. You can do it tomorrow. You can go through every one of your events tomorrow and set it all up so it's all ready to go for that event.
I have a
It's
question.
so much better sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am CompuBear. I'd like to know, and maybe this was said before, I have a world that I'm working on, and every day I make little refinements to it. And today I'm planning an event for 3 days from now. I clone the world into the event, put extra props in like microphones and stuff like that. Then I go back to my world and I'm still making little refinements to the Unity, the template and stuff like that. Will they automatically, and maybe you've said this before, will all those changes automatically flow into the world?
No, you have to go back into where you make the world in alt space, meaning go to altspace.com, go to where the event is, go to the world is, and then the event is in there, and find that particular event and then recopy it. There's a command in there to recopy your world again. However, if you do that and you've added things to that event, those things may not necessarily reappear again. So you're actually better off going back into the event and adding those things.
Okay, so
Yeah.
pre-stage, in other words, pre-staging everything might work, but if you're making changes in your world, they won't necessarily propagate.
Not unless you do the re-import that's on the screen, re-import world right there. But then if you've added things to that event, they
Like
may
a
not
microphone.
necessarily, they may not necessarily be there when you re-import that world again. You'll have to add that microphone back in if it's not in your world in the first place.
Got it.
We recommend doing that. So we recommend, and again, that's why I always make a copy of the world, because I always go into the source world and add all the things, and then I hit re-import world, and that makes my event update with all the things that I added to my world.
That are, and including the things that are event specific.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I rarely add stuff in the actual event because if I need to add a room or it makes it complicated. I don't know if those things are gonna automatically import into that room that I made
got
in room number 1. Great points. We're going deep. All
Well,
right.
all these conceptual things are important because if you don't get these concepts right and you go live, you're going to find things missing, probably.
Ron, you had a question?
Yes. This is probably a very naive question and it goes way back, but I think I have the experts here. So I'm hoping you can help me. If I can share my screen, I kind of got stuck at the very beginning here on the permalink, and it must be something simple, but can you look at it and tell me why it keeps saying it's invalid?
Oh, I ran into this problem over and over, and then I finally decided to just forget about the account alt BOR channels, just wipe that out, and just use neuron reflection.
Yep, so exactly. You just need to put the last part of the channel for the permalink.
Yeah, that question mark help.
Oh, yeah.
Totally useless.
Thank you. Thank you very much. See, I knew it was simple.
But when you make the revolving portal, you need to use that that channel code that you see right now. Exactly.
So
Those numbers
this link up here, right?
No, you just need to, you just need to know the numbers. So the numbers, that's your channel ID. So even if you change your channel name, your channel ID is what's going to link to the revolving portal.
By numbers, do you mean these numbers?
Exactly. Yep.
Oh,
so if you read the guide and you go into step 2, where it's add the create the revolving portal, you're going to need that string of numbers in order for the revolving portal to pull your channel.
I understand. Yep. I just just couldn't get to that spot. All right. Thank you so much.
I actually have to run to another meeting, but if anybody gets stuck with web projector, I am CompuBear on AltSpace VR. I am CompuBear Discord on all channels, including my own Discord channel. And you can find me at Gmail. I am CompuBear, or Michelle at iamcompubear.com. So feel free to touch base with me if you get stuck, because the web projector has a few little hidden bugs that usually you won't come across, but if you do, you can reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I also got a vault, but everyone, y'all have been so helpful. I'm not confident yet, but I'm way more.
Yeah, well, thanks everyone. I think we answered a lot of questions here, and we're going to save this recording for anyone who wasn't on the call. I'm sure they're going to love hearing all the answers and ways that we work through those questions. And again, if anything comes up after this call, we have one other one happening in the morning, and you can always reach us on Discord in the events help channel. That Discord link is at the very top of the events guide.